welcome to This Explainer. Okay, today we are diving into a date that is now permanently etched into the Baltimore Ravens history books, August 4th, 2026. While the rest of the NFL was just grinding through the dog days of training camp, news broke that completely altered the landscape for this franchise. We're talking about a move that isn't just a standard roster update, it's a $140 million shockwave that was felt across the entire league.
Right in the middle of camp, the Ravens front office drops a literal bomb. As initially reported by Adam Schefter and confirmed by One Sports Group, Baltimore signed Zay Flowers to a 4-year, $140 million contract extension. Let me just say that number again, because it's honestly staggering. $140 million. This deal averages out to $35 million a year, which immediately vaults him into the absolute upper echelon of offensive playmakers in the sport.
But the real story? It's the breakdown of that money. A jaw-dropping $108 million of this contract is fully guaranteed. That puts him fourth overall in total guarantees among all wideouts in the league. Let's be totally clear about what this means. That's not traditional wide receiver money. That is essentially franchise quarterback money. The front office opened up the vault to make him the second highest paid player in Ravens history, trailing only Lamar Jackson. All right, Section 1, the wide receiver graveyard. To really understand this, we have to look back, because for decades, Baltimore was notoriously known around the league as a graveyard for wide receivers. Built on smash-mouth defense, they just kind of scraped by relying on aging veterans, guys like Michael Crabtree and Jeremy Maclin, who came with a lot of experience, but let's face it, highly limited production. Then came Marquise Hollywood Brown in 2019, who definitely flashed brilliance but eventually requested a trade out of their run-heavy scheme. Believe it or not, prior to 2023, the Ravens had never drafted and developed a homegrown Pro Bowl wide receiver. That curse finally lifted when they grabbed Zay Flowers 22nd overall in 2023, totally silencing the critics who thought he was just too small for the bruising AFC North. Moving on to Section 2, the record-breaking breakout. Zay's progression was as rapid as it was undeniable. In 2023, he put together a super promising 858-yard rookie campaign. But in 2024, the light bulb truly turned on, right? He evolved from a pure speed threat into this precise route running technician, becoming Lamar's ultimate security blanket and earning his first Pro Bowl nod. By 2025, he had completely ascended to undisputed WR1 status, commanding the offense in a way Baltimore frankly hadn't seen in years. And it was that 2025 season that forced the Ravens to open their checkbook. He achieved something that absolute Baltimore legends, guys like Derek Mason, Todd Heap, and Mark Andrews never did. He set a brand new single-season franchise record with 1,211 receiving yards. Accomplishing a historic milestone like that in just his third year, that cemented him as an elite foundational piece of this offense. You really have to look at the context of that 2025 season to appreciate it. With the tight end room banged up and Rashad Bateman being inconsistent, Zay pulled in 86 catches for those 1,211 yards. And get this, no other receiver on the entire roster even cracked 25 catches or 400 yards. Despite drawing the defense's best cornerback and seeing double teams every single week, he just completely dominated. Which brings us to Section 3, the cost of waiting. The front office knew the math. The wide receiver market resets every single year, with Justin Jefferson setting the absolute ceiling at $35 million. And guys like CeeDee Lamb and A.J. Brown right behind him, waiting was a massive financial risk. If they delayed until next offseason and Zay posted another 1,200-yard campaign, his asking price was going to skyrocket, closer to $38 or maybe even $40 million a year. Being proactive was really their only play. Now, sure, they technically had leverage. They'd already exercised his cheaper $15 million fifth-year option for 2027, so they could have just relied on that. But by extending him now at a $35 million average, they effectively locked down Lamar Jackson's top weapon for the next 5 years. That perfectly aligns with the back half of Lamar's prime, making sure that quarterback-receiver duo remains completely unbroken. And from the player's perspective, this is all about the injury shield. For a smaller receiver like Zay, who is out there taking punishing hits over the middle of the field, $108 million in fully guaranteed money is life-changing security. If tragedy strikes and he gets hurt, that money is already in the bank. For his physical profile and playing style, locking in that immediate financial future was basically non-negotiable. All right, Section 4, Super Bowl expectations. Here's the harsh reality of a hard salary cap. You literally cannot pay a quarterback $55 million and a receiver $35 million without feeling the pain somewhere else. The Ravens' cap space is now heavily anchored by a big three: Lamar Jackson, Zay Flowers, and Roquan Smith. Moving forward, the front office has a super strict mandate. They have to restructure veterans, make some really difficult cap casualty cuts, and most importantly, they absolutely must nail their defensive draft picks if they want to stay competitive. But honestly, this signifies a monumental shift in organizational philosophy. As Hall of Fame wide receiver Shannon Sharpe pointed out on social media, the old Baltimore philosophy of just letting receivers walk and collecting compensatory picks, yeah, that's dead. The front office finally gets set to survive the AFC. To beat the likes of Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow, you absolutely have to pay for elite offensive weapons. Plus, it builds this great culture of meritocracy in the locker room. If you produce in Baltimore, you get rewarded. Of course, with great money comes massive expectations. Becoming the second highest paid player in franchise history brings unbelievable pressure to deliver when the lights are brightest. Look, we all remember Zay's costly playoff fumble a couple of years ago. He thrives on the big stage, and he's definitely learned from it, but the narrative has officially flipped. The question is no longer, will Lamar have enough weapons? It's now, can Zay Flowers handle the pressure and carry this offense when the run game gets stuffed in the AFC Championship? Zay Flowers has officially broken the Baltimore curse, becoming the first homegrown Raven to secure the bag as a true elite #1 receiver. But I'll leave you with this final thought as we wrap up this explainer. With the AFC evolving into an absolute offensive arms race, did the Ravens overpay out of desperation? Or is this $140 million contract just the absolute necessary cost of chasing a championship ring? Keep that in mind as you watch this offense take the field. Thanks for joining me, and keep learning.